Hey, this is Mike Shank, and this is the At Speed podcast presented by Rocky Fork Company.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with another episode of At Speed podcast. And Mike Shank, we're in a totally different situation now. Number one, you had to skip the doubleheader in MidOhio that was postponed at least till September or October. Now we're sitting here in your suite at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I don't know just how, pardon the pun, or revved up are you about the fact that qualifying is right around the corner?
Just the fact that Meyer Shank has a suite at Indy 500 is a pretty cool statement.
I agree with that, by the way.
Listen, so far so good here. Big disappointment, though, to start with about MidOhio. Missing MidOhio, our home race, we talked about a lot on the last podcast. It's really tough because mainly, not only are we there with family and friends, some at the time, we think we run really well there.
Yeah.
And the Andretti stuff has gone really, really well. And I'm really happy here at Indy. We can talk about that in a minute. But, on the road course and stuff, we feel like we've made a gain. And we wanted to run MidOhio. Now, theoretically, they tell us maybe in September we're going to get to run it. But we got to see what our Governor DeWine says about that. But I can tell you they're trying.
Well, it won't be in conflict with an Ohio State football game.
It will not. It will not, unfortunately.
Stunning. I mean, do you think that's a harbinger for what's to come? I mean, for you guys there, do you feel like y'all will be at MidOhio this year before we move on here?
I feel like we will.
Yeah.
In some form. Okay. I don't know if it'll be like this at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but I think we'll get it done somehow, some way. We need to, and it'll be a double. It'll be a double race too when we do get it in. We're going to come back here for what they call the Harvest Grand Prix on the road course at the beginning of October, and we'll have a double race there, I think.
Boy, they're going to run into the Harvest Moon?
It's something like that, and we look forward to that. It's such a tough year. I got to say that everybody has just relented the fact that, it is not great. Everybody loses on this thing somehow. A lot of financial losses for everybody, and you can see here coming today and yesterday. This place is it's just eerie.
Yes, that was the word I was about to use.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, the fans are so much of it. And then number two, they were really coming back in the last several years. I mean, more and more.
Yeah, we had this great growth, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. And like a day like today, Fast Friday, as we record this, and for qualifying on Saturday, I mean, the energy just was building, and there were huge crowds here because one of the things is all of a sudden they're giving you guys this extra horsepower.
Yeah.
And you're getting to go really fast, but yeah, I mean, you do miss the crowd, don't you?
Yeah, there's no question. When you come through what I call the tunnel here, going out to the pit lane, it's always great to have interaction with folks.
Yeah.
Stop and talk, say hi.
Gasoline alley.
And I think I forgot how much I appreciated that part of it. I wish I could will them all back to the Speedway, all the fans. But I got to tell you something, Tim, and I don't know if you know this or not, but across the street, there's been about 50 people that sit on the other side of the street in the gap so they can see the cars go by. Do you know this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was watching some of them yesterday when I came in here for the first time, and I mean, they can't even see the track.
They can't.
But they can hear the cars.
And see just the roll bar.
Yes.
Just the hoop.
Exactly.
The roll going by. So I think that's for people that have been here for 40 years in a row, 30 years in a row, and they don't want to say they didn't come. You don't want to miss a year.
But I'll tell you what, part of the thrill here, though, is actually, I've always thought about these cars going around here. It's part visual and part concert. Because, when they go down the front straightaway, there's hardly a place here where you can see the whole track, number one. I don't even think there is one, maybe the top of the Pagoda. But you can hear the cars. I mean, especially on qualifying, you can hear the car going around all by itself, and you can hear where their guys gotten off it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just part of the I think the ambiance or the thrill of being here. But let's talk about the thrill of being here. You guys have got to feel pretty good, top 7, top 11. Yeah, on the speed chart the first 2 days. What'd you find out about your race car?
Well, so there's two things that go on here at the Speedway. You have kind of drafting speeds and you have single car runs. Yeah. And they do two things. That you have the list that most people see publicly is just who went the fastest. And that's a person always with a draft, a slipstream, right?
Yeah.
But then there's another thing called a no-tow list. And that's the true telling science of what's going to happen in qualifying. Okay?
Yeah.
So we've worked it 2 ways. We've spent most of our time on qualifying. Not most. We spent 60% on qualifying, 40% on race, pack running. So we didn't go for the killer toe, we call it, right?
Yeah.
But even then, we didn't go for the killer one. We still were, the first day we're 7th or 8th, and yesterday we were 13th. But on the no-toe on Monday, or what is it, Tuesday? No, Wednesday. Wednesday.
Yeah.
On the no-toe on Wednesday, we were 4th, and on the no-toe yesterday, we were P1.
Yeah.
So, we think we're pretty good that way. However, on our race car, we still have some work to do. So, later tomorrow after qualifying, and Sunday certainly after the end of the qualifying, we're going to work nonstop on our race car.
I was going to say, the first thing I saw yesterday when I was here on Thursday, first day I got here, and was you guys doing it looked like a qualifying sim.
Yeah.
And that is going out, basically, ladies and gentlemen, simulating a qualifying run, which is go out, run a lap, and then come by and then run 4 laps.
We literally tell them, we do a warm-up lap, and we'll tell them lap 1, green flag, lap 1. We run it just like a quali.
Yeah.
And we've done, yesterday we got 3 of those in. 3 of those.
Wow.
And that's impressive. We've not been able to do that in the past. The day before we got 2 of them in, but sometimes they get sullied a little bit by, people that pop out and they give us a tow, right? If you can, the general rule is if you can see a car, if the driver can see a car ahead of him, even if it's at the end of the straightaway, you're getting a tow. Yeah. And you can slightly see that in the data.
But this is us girls talking. I'm not sure I totally believe that. I mean, if it's way down at the end of the straightaway.
I'm telling you, it's
okay.
True. It's
I mean,
true.
he still left that hole in the air. Right?
I promise you. And once the toe starts going like this,
I'm like a tornado.
There's something.
Because there were guys running out there in 8 and 10 car packs at one point on Thursday, and it was, I mean, wow, it's just crazy because you're in jeopardy every time. I mean, and Fernando.
And we do it
Alonso,
on purpose. We do it on purpose.
I know you did, but just to find out how much jeopardy. But Fernando Alonso obviously found out, went down, touched the concrete.
Can't do that.
And man, and that car really didn't get. It got a little squirrely, but it didn't get like big time out of shape. But he had no control of it all the way up to the wall.
Well, he didn't lift either.
Exactly. He thought he'd stay in.
He thought he'd pull her out of it, and you just can't get on those curves.
That's that famous line. There's 2 types of drivers: those who have hit the wall at Indy, or touched the wall, best safe for Bear at Indy, and those who will. And he became one of those who will.
Yeah.
Speaking of qualifying, of course, he had his troubles. Last time he was here, didn't make the field. This year, everybody is guaranteed a spot, 33 spots. How much pressure does that take off of the weekend as far as, if something goes wrong, you still got to,
It does. I mean, on a normal year, I think bump day and the way they do the bump thing now is so exciting.
Yes.
Last year was just breathtaking. I think it's great for the fans.
The last row shootouts he's talking
It's
about.
hard. It's hard on us. It's real hard.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I would be lying if I said you can exhale a little bit, right? And we do. But I still get it that we don't do this without fans typically, right? So we need to give someone something cool to talk about, and I love it. I love they do the top 9 and bottom. Last year was the bottom 6, right? For 3 spots, and it was one of the most exciting times I've ever been at this speedway. That you could feel it on the front straightaway, and I think that's what Indy's about.
Yeah, because you knew the top 9 were all in the race.
Yeah,
but the bottom 6,
you don't know.
Yeah,
and they put 3 people on.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing that they've got only 33 cars? Y'all only have 33 cars here this year.
Well, I think we're lucky to have 33 in a year like this. So many deals economically fell apart for people. They just, and then on top of that, with no any hope of having bump cars, once they said fans are gone, it all just died.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate, but it's real unfortunate, actually. But having said that, we're going to come back strong. Roger. I just can't, I compete against him, so I want to beat him all the time in a couple different ways. But with regard to this place and how he's running this place, Tim, if you look at everything, you can tell Roger has touched it.
Yes.
But look, that's one thing, with the visual stuff. But the stuff he does behind the scenes to make sure we all survive, he survives, it compels me to want to help him, right? Like, if he's willing to do this, make sure we're all racing, what can I do to help him? And I believe you'll see most people will all agree.
It's no secret that they've cut the purse here now in half because of those races. It's still a ridiculous purse.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to even 10 years ago, I think it's still higher for sure. But does that change anything about how much you run or anything like that? I mean, because obviously a lot of teams like to like to at least have the month of May pay for itself.
Yeah, I mean,
personally,
typically we do count on that. You're right. It's really cool that there's this much money available potentially, even at the half rate.
Yeah.
But that's just not a driving factor. We don't factor we win any. Well, we don't really factor much at all, at any of these races, prize money wise. So it's not a driving force for us. It really isn't. Now, if we do well, everybody, the team, you all get to share in the wealth of the driver and the owners and all that. That's great. But we're trying to do it to get to history. We want to be in the history books.
Yeah, and let's throw a little praise on Roger Penske. He could have just said,
yeah, I mean, he could
maybe run this race, but none of the others, and then just like you said, that tells you about how much stake, how much skin he's got in the game, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, can you imagine buying this and feeling really good about this end of last year, beginning of this year, and then this happened and not knowing, and nobody's at fault here, right? No one.
Yeah.
And we just got the right guy at the helm, and I think he looks at this. I feel like he looks at this as a conservatorship. Like he's meant to come onto this planet to look after this space for a period of time.
Yeah.
And he was the right guy for the job, and I think it's great.
That's a great way of putting it. Now let's get into this. How much does the car, from your vantage point, we've been talking to drivers, Jack Harvey, your driver, and others. How much does the car change from your engineering standpoint on this? We're talking Fast Fridays with Consider, ladies and gentlemen. You get this ridiculous boost of 30 or 40 horsepower.
It's a lot,
but that's a lot.
Yeah,
maybe more than that. How much does it just change the dynamic of the car? The thing you've been running for 2 days, the thing you've been, like you said, been rubbing on for like 2 years almost.
Yeah.
But how much does just for a 2.5 day period? How much does it just change the way the car acts and
behaves? It changes it. But remember now, we've not had canopies here, and we've never had this boost. Now they've always boosted Friday for the last 2 years, right? But this is the biggest ever, right? This is road course level boost, right?
Is it scary?
I don't think it's scary. I think my prediction is after Jack does his first run, he'll come in like, whoa, my points I need to back my points up a little bit.
That's what Takuma Sato said. He said the track kind of narrows.
Yeah.
Because you're going fast.
Yeah. And obviously stuff's coming at you quicker. We got the car real trimmed out, so it's dancing, right? And, we got to watch the wind. The wind right now doesn't look too bad, but that's a factor here.
Oh, yeah.
But, going those speeds, I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting. We'll come back and visit what our top speed will be going into 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be 242, 240. I mean, it could be a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Offenhauser days.
Yeah.
But when they break going into third, because they have the downforce. But just from do y'all run higher? What do you call it? I always get this mixed up in my head. Higher gears.
Yes.
You're allowed to do that?
Oh, yeah.
Gearbox?
Yeah. We'll have, so it's a 6-speed gearbox, and the top 3 gears are all different top gears depending on if you're by yourself or you do catch and draft. We also have a gear called a recovery gear, so if you get bogged down, you can get low enough to get out of the turn.
Yeah. But how much of a pain is that to change the gears in a gearbox?
Not a pain. Not only is it not a pain, but we call them cassette, the gearbox has ratios, and each gear, first gear is two gears that mesh, right?
Yeah.
And there's 6 of those, right? So we have one cassette in, and we have another one that has slightly different tops depending on conditions that we can swap. We can do it in 15 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. It's not the old days of planetaries.
No.
I mean, the sequential gearbox is one of the great things that ever happened. And then on top of that, the
paddles. Well, sequential came first, and the paddles.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we went from H pattern to sequential to paddles.
And it was cool because back when they went to sequential, they had that little bump in it. It was like cool to watch. Now you just, like Lewis Hamilton driving his F1 car, you hardly ever see him.
You can hardly see the fingers.
Yeah, you can hardly see the fingers.
And we can tune all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really interesting.
Now, you wake up tomorrow morning. We're talking about Saturday morning, ladies and gentlemen, qualifying day at Indy. Are there butterflies in your stomach? You're the owner. Of course, with the drivers, they know this could be a long day. The way things operate anymore. Do you wake up with butterflies? What's going through your mind? Is it? Do you tell Jack, hey, first time out, let's just get it in the show? I mean, how do you approach
No,
this?
I think there's no getting in the show.
By the way, there's a practice time before.
Yeah. No, we're going to go out there and we practice. We've got 5 quality sims already to date. Now we're going to do 5 more today.
Yeah.
So let's just say conservatively, we're going to run 8 qualifying simulations before qualifying.
Wow.
So he's well versed. He's well practiced. There's no attitude. It's not let's just get it in the show. It's go as fast as this freaking car can go.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And then we'll see where we're at. And then the question becomes, then there's a whole strategy to the lines, the fast and slow line. At what point will we try it again, right? And at what point are we close to the top 9? Do we want to make another run at it? If you go to the fast lane, you forego the time you already have in the books, right? It's a delicate balance.
Right.
So we'd love to make the top 9. We've never done that. If we get in the top 9, that would be wonderful.
What is the indicator though when you're sitting there 11th after everybody's gone through, or 12th?
Yeah.
Let's say.
Yeah.
What tells you whether you want to put your car at risk? Because this is a car, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, they've been rubbing on for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm talking about chassis wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What is it that you get back in there and you and your engineers determine, hey, we can make this one change and it will go faster? Or does there come a point where you have to kind of like punch yourself in the stomach and go, you know what? I think we got all we can get out of this thing.
Well, so that's a good question, and we've already talked about it. So we have so much data from these cars, right? We know when we leave something on the table. If we can visibly see, we left, 1 mile an hour out there because of this or that, we had too much understeer and the car just plowed.
Yeah.
Then we know we can make an adjustment and go try it again.
I like how simple you made that scene. It just plowed.
Yep. And that's
Meanwhile, you're in the driver's seat and you're puckering. But
one thing's for sure is if you want to be in the top 25 here, you have to be able to do all 4 laps, never lift. The minute you go out, you never lift the throttle. And we did it all day yesterday. So, and that's a delicate, dance with the downforce and the wind and the conditions and heat. We got more heat here than we typically do in May, right? So I think ultimate speed will come next May with these new boost levels when we're in cooler conditions.
yeah.
This will still go fast. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see the record fall today. That'd be wonderful. It'd be something nice.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You think it will? That's 230. What is it? 236 something?
It's something like that. I don't know.
I think it's already line doc.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if it will or not, but I think we're going to go faster than we have in these current years.
Okay. This sort of it's always intrigued me is I'm here every Saturday morning at 7:30 to watch the practice at 8.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 72, 71, 72 degrees at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
based on what I saw this morning.
Yeah.
At noon, it's going to be 83.
Yeah.
Headed, they say, to 88. How much do you get out of that morning run that's assuring? I mean, because that is a huge change from a track temperature. Track hasn't cooled.
Well, remember, we've been practicing at 85.
Right.
So
but not with this extra boost.
No, that's true. So that's very true. So we'll do everything we can to make decisions on everything we have in our hand.
Yeah.
Meaning everything we've been at relative temperatures, aerodynamic downforce. We see that downforce number. We know how much the air is present in the car now.
Yeah.
And make decisions kind of based off of it.
But in other words, y'all have like computer algorithms and stuff that help y'all with that stuff?
Oh, yeah. Simulations.
As opposed to the old days where
there's sim.
Put your finger up.
But remember also with the Andretti group that we're part of, there's 7 of us running. So if I'm hoping that maybe 3 run before we go, and then we immediately get all that data. So you'll see our guys maybe put some wing in, take some wing out, make a top pressure adjustment based on the comments from the drivers that went ahead of us. That's the beauty of that deal.
Okay, you've been in on those meetings here for 2 days already with those guys.
Yeah.
What is different? And forget about you have to compare it to y'all with the Schmidt Peterson group before. What is just different about not maybe better or worse, but what's different about the Andretti group here at the Speedway?
They're both great groups. Andretti have come, I believe Andretti have a combination of things. And by the way, it's a lot of things. It's 20 different items they do differently than other teams. Because the cars, effectively, are very similar overall. But all the little things that add up to being quick around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, they have, right? It's just a tick better than a lot of deals. Now that doesn't mean the other Honda teams aren't. They are. They're can be as quicker or maybe quicker today than us. But like Ganassi's and Dale Coyne's cars have gone faster in the past lately.
Takuma went fast yesterday.
Takuma's really quick with the rail. I mean, everybody's pretty close. I mean, if you look at the total time to do 4 laps,
that's crazy.
The gap is nothing.
Yeah.
Over 4 laps.
Yeah.
So we're all pretty close. I just think they have a lot of data. They have a lot of smart people. I think they're well organized. Considering we have all these cars, you'd be surprised how well it actually runs.
Okay, I'm looking at the speed sheet from like yesterday. Like you said, toe, no toe, all that kind of stuff. But it looks to me like Honda has given, for the most part, you guys a really good race engine. I mean, you have to feel for that. I mean,
for the last couple of years, we've certainly felt like Chevrolet had maybe a little bit on us here. I don't know where it sits today in either case. Honda, of course, like anybody else, works on it really, really hard. And Ted Klaus and all these guys at HPD are really smart, right? So we'll see where we end up. Honda's had a really good year in IndyCar so far, and I think we're a little bit better than we were last year. I don't know if we'll be able to match the Chevy here or not, but and the race will be fun.
Yeah, but that's what I wanted to ask you. It seems like in the last few years, on qualifying day, Chevy was willing to kind of, I don't even know if that's the right term, but somehow or another they pumped it up a little farther. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't know if you got that sense or not. I mean, it just seems like on qualifying day,
that's always
they were kind of willing to take the risk a little bit. I don't even know if you can do, I don't know how that computes.
Well, they can do things that hurt these motors,
right?
But you got to run. We got to run this motor at St. Louis, and we got to run it at MidOhio.
Exactly.
So you got to. It's a real delicate balance. Of course, everybody wants to win this race, right? Everybody.
Yeah.
So
everybody wants to be on pole too.
They want to be on pole. Yeah. So let's see where they come up and see how willing they are to we call it knock the engine, right? Just let it have all it can.
Hey, last couple of things, Mike. You've been coming here now for a little while. From your vantage point, what do you know to get excited or concerned about, and what not to get excited or concerned about as this thing progresses? Obviously, we still call it the month of May, even though it's August, and even though it's really only a week and a half. But it's still the longest time you spend at one racetrack.
It is. Yeah.
So, what have you found out as a veteran now of what to really to have your antenna up about?
The first thing is slow down. These races we run this year in COVID time, the pace is like this.
Yeah.
You got to go, 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 go. This is different. We can take our time. If we made a mistake, we can reset. And this place is not forgiving, right? Like if you think we have a problem, we need to tow back to the garage and get on the setup pad and change the alignment and check the alignment. Slow down is kind of the number one thing I think.
Yeah.
Slow down.
How hard is it for you to do?
It's tough because we're geared to go all the time, flat out.
Yeah.
Pace is like this.
Yeah.
In, out, gone, qualify. You think about MidOhio when we go to MidOhio. We'll show up Saturday morning. We're going to practice, qual, and race in one day. Yeah. And then the next morning we're going to come back and we're going to qual and race. And then we're gone.
Yeah.
We're hardly there, right? And from an economic standpoint, that's awesome. From a spectator thing, it's just a lot going on. That's kind of awesome.
But that's good.
It hurts the promoter a little bit because we're not there that long, physically there to sell it.
Yeah.
But I like that method, and I believe, Tim, that we can talk about this later. But I think going forward in life, we've all learned, and NASCAR is a leader in this. We don't need to be there for 4 days.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't shorten this up even more. I'm okay with the way it is, but the way our world's going in IndyCar and IMSA, by the way, it's just condensing.
Yeah. It used to be, it was like a circus coming to town. You kind of put the stakes in the ground on Wednesday or Thursday.
Take a leisurely day Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday and Friday, you got to practice. Saturday, we're talking about the road course situation like MidOhio. Saturday, you qualify. Sunday, you race. And I think people are, and you know this, man, like you said, you're OCD. I mean, people are into like action, you know, and they're easily distracted. Hey, last thing is you sit here, we're sitting here the day before qualifying.
Yeah.
Who looks like the competition? The thing is, this would be more of a question for us to ask after Friday, but we got to get this up on the internet, you know?
Yeah.
But who is it? The usual suspects for qualifying?
For the most part, I mean, well, for quali, It's really hard to say, and this is what makes this tough. Everyone is so close these days. There are people that look strong out there. I thought Simon Pagenaud looked particularly well, especially in traffic and group pack running.
Yeah.
Also, I thought Connor Daly looked strong in his Chevrolet.
That's an Ed Carpenter car.
Yeah, bright orange. You know, and Ed typically goes really well too. But guys like James Hinchcliffe, he looked strong to me in a teammate car to ours. He looked strong in traffic to me. So, it'll be. I think Jack is pretty good by himself. I think we have a shot at the top 9, which would be wonderful based on our year this year. We qualified really, really well.
Yeah.
Most of the year. So it's hard to say. I mean, that's the beauty of it. I mean, we have 33 cars here, and with the right scenario strategy, 30 could win.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you. There's nobody running around here 10 miles an hour off like there used to be.
Yeah, and plus passing here looks like it's going to be, just based on the first 2 days, looks like passing is going to be, we'll get into that next week.
Yeah.
It looks like passing is going to be a little bit difficult, a little bit tricky.
Almost impossible.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot of time, we'll talk about this next week, we spent a lot of time yesterday, the spotters and Coach and Jack on, you think about when you can time your lifts, and it's the giant chess match. And where can we move when they don't? What are they doing different? Well, how are we going to do different? How are we going to arc the car into 1, 2 that gives us a run?
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
And by the time we're doing this, someone's working us. That's the arc.
Hey, we're going to come back after qualifying and do one of these, and we'll do another one next week, Mike. But I wanted to ask you one last thing. You're a former driver. You never got to drive here in an Indy car. And you touched on it earlier, and this has been the intrigue that I've had about this place ever since I started coming here, covering it in 1985, the Sullivan Spin and Win, and the next year by Burrell. But the thing that intrigued me, Rick Mears and these guys, is the idea of getting in one of these race cars, putting your foot to the floor, and not lifting for 4 laps.
Yeah.
What kind of special person, or what kind of crazy nut does it take to do that? Because I'm not sure people quite understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, so it not only does it take a brave person, but it also takes a person that, as the run goes, we have tools inside the car, right, to take scrub out of the car and understeer and the push, and that's what ends up happening. The car starts heading to the wall at the exit of these turns, and the more you put steering in it, the more you slow it down, right? So it not only takes a brave person, it takes a smart person staying ahead of their tools. That's what we say, think about your tools. Get ahead of it on the weight checker, on the sway bars, and get that car so it turns real free the whole run.
And the whole time you're estimating how much of the tire's going off.
The whole time.
Yeah.
So during the run, your speed's going this way, but your tires are going this way.
Yeah.
Right? Where does that intersect? Our intersection's up here, or is it down here?
It's not the same car almost on every turn. It's a different
vehicle.
Different feeling vehicle.
And by the way, you have conditions. What's the wind doing? Did the wind shift during the run? It's possible.
Oh yeah.
So.
And like I said, these things are upside down wings.
Yeah.
They're very much affected by the wind speed.
Yeah.
If it's 10 miles an hour, that means it's 10 miles an hour on your tail going down. But that's hurting your aerodynamics.
That's right.
From the standpoint of the grip.
Well, if I've got a tailwind going into 3,
it
lifts the back of the car and makes it looser, freer going in, right?
Yeah.
Now, conversely, it pins that it helps you going into turn 1.
Okay, I'll stand by this and we'll get out of here. But like I said, I've always said if the drivers could sit in turn 1, outside of turn 1, and watch themselves go through there, they would never do this, right?
That's true.
But you know what? We're going to be back, ladies and gentlemen, early next week following qualifying because, this is 2 different exercises, qualifying for the Indy 500 and then running the Indy 500.
That's right.
And we'll bring you up to date on these special editions of At Speed with Mike Shank with yours truly, Tim May. But until then, we'll see you.